Okay, so I thought we'll begin with just a very, very short little breathing space, and then we'll move into the program for the week. So if we just get ourselves settled as best we can into the position that you would like to take, you could do it sitting or lying, it's up to you. And have a sense of the body resting down into the surface beneath us. Quality of settling and arriving. And beginning to be aware of breathing in the body, however breathing is showing up for you. Instead of our awareness being stuck in our head, where it often feels for many of us, let's allow it to rest inside the body, inside breathing. And if breathing doesn't feel supportive for you for any reason, you could take your awareness back to some other part of the body, something that feels stable and grounding. And resting in the present moment. Every time your mind wanders off, thinking about something, as it almost inevitably will, when we notice that we're thinking about something, the mind's wandered off, we can choose to unhook, as it were, from that train of thought and just come back to the body, back to the breath, back to the moment. We've got pain. Then noticing, are we bracing against the pain, tensing against the pain? If that's the case, we could perhaps choose to breathe into that area with a gentle in-breath and to soften and let go a little bit with the out-breath. Very often when we've got pain, we hold the breath, particularly the out-breath. So let's just see if we can let the out-breath be a little bit longer or have its full expression a little bit more. So soothing breath. And noticing how this experience we call pain, as if it's a solid thing that's happening to us. But it's a flow of sensations, never exactly the same one moment to the next. And we ever only experience it one moment at a time. Okay, so let's just bring this little practice to a close, opening our eyes, coming back to the screen. Good. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do today is just hear from one another how you've got on with the homework from last time, which was to either listen to the guided meditation that Liz sent out, or she said, if you didn't want to be guided, she suggested you just set a timer for 5 minutes and just noticed your breath, noticed your thoughts. see what's been happening with your thoughts. So did anyone do it at all over the week? Don't worry if you didn't, but if anyone did, would you be willing to say how you got on, what you noticed doing that, and see if you can let go of, I did it well or I did it badly. Let go of those kind of judgments and just be curious about what you noticed. And hi, Chelsea, welcome.
I did the homework.
Good. Yeah.
Sometimes I catch myself having negative thoughts, so I try to just lay down on my back with my legs up and just relax and try to just not think anything negative. And don't think people are thinking bad things about me.
Mm-hmm. And what's the effect of that?
It made me, part of the reasons I think I feel sometimes negative is I'm retired now, so I don't have access to people so much anymore. And then you think, how come nobody calls me? And then you're like, oh, they're working. Oh, they got to take care of business. So I just have to remind myself of that I'm in a different world than a lot of people now. And not take it personal. And then think about the holidays coming up and the excitement about I'm going to be getting to see a lot of people that I maybe haven't seen for a long, long time. Some of them maybe even since last year. So it was good. I came out feeling very good and refreshed.
Good. And the mindfulness, part of the mindfulness aspect of that is simply remembering to do that.
Yes.
Remembering to lie down in as comfortable position as you can, feet up the wall or whatever you did with your legs. I can't remember. What did you do with your legs?
Well, I recently bought a pillow where I can put it under my legs where it holds the knees up kind of higher.
Yeah.
And I can just lay the legs on there and it's like, oh, that feels so good. When you're on your back. Yeah. I've got the locked hips and the locked knees. So when I bought that, I can lay in that position and then be free of, the pulling pain.
Yeah, good. So you've valued yourself enough to buy yourself that cushion. Brilliant. Yes. You remember to lie down and use it.
Yes.
Also brilliant. Probably many of us, our homes are littered with aids that we forget to use or don't use. I mean, I can certainly recognize that. So you've remembered to use it, you've done it, and then you worked with your mind, and then you come out of it feeling different.
Yes.
Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because you can hear that in two ways. One is, well, you just lay down for a bit and you felt a bit better. That's one way. Another way is, I felt really different because of what I did with my mind.
Right.
Because I chose how I related to my thoughts. And because you related to your thoughts differently, you felt much better. And so that tells you the power of awareness and the power of these sort of mind training techniques that we're doing in this course. So yeah, thanks, Julie. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ron?
Well, I've had a hard time when I first started this to try to calm my mind down because my mind is typically running around in circles with things I need to do, things I haven't got to do, things that, and I've get a little better with it, to slow my mind down and try to, get away from the things that are running around in my mind. So that took a lot of, when I first started doing this, it took a lot of practice.
Yeah.
But I'm getting better at it. So, which is good for me because it's been a very difficult thing for me, but this has helped me a lot with that. So I notice the more I do it, the better I get at it. So practicing it is important.
Yeah, brilliant. And again, you're saying it in a very straightforward way, but isn't that amazing that we're not stuck with these minds that are just running around and around in circles, but with training and with effort and sort of learning these simple techniques, it can change. And that your mind isn't quite so much like that anymore. That's what I'm hearing. And you're learning how to sort of ground and be present a bit more. Yeah, fantastic. And how long have you been doing these kind of approaches?
I only caught on with you folks probably halfway through the course. So
Oh, do you mean just this course that we're doing now?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I thought you were going to say you've been doing it for years or something.
No,
oh, wow.
It's all kind of new to me. I mean, they did it a little bit when I was in a program for trying to get you to do that, but I haven't practiced it enough.
Yeah.
But being with you and this group has helped me to go back to it and know that I can do it if I work on it.
Good. Brilliant. Brilliant. So that's even more impressive that it's just been for a couple of weeks and you're already noticing the benefits. So that's very encouraging. And for anyone else who maybe you haven't sort of quite given it a go yet, then just give it a go. And little bit by little bit, we can begin to calm down the mind. Very, very often the image that's given of the untrained mind is a monkey. It's called monkey mind, because monkeys just jump all over the place, don't they? They see something they want and they just chase after it. And the image which I like to give for the trained mind is the elephant, because elephants are very steady and grounded and slow, although they can move fast if they need to. And the other thing about elephants, apparently, is that they can't twist their necks very easily. So if they want to attend to something, they turn their whole body and they give it their full attention. So that's also a very good image for mindfulness, that we can be like an elephant and give everything our full attention rather than being scattered all over the place like a monkey. So yeah, you're beginning to have the elephant mind, Ron, rather than the monkey mind. Good, thank you. So yeah, anyone else want to share anything? And you can also say if you found it really hard, it doesn't, you don't need to only share things that you found helpful.
I feel like I'm looking forward to, I'm sorry.
Well, let's hear from Sam and then we'll hear from Beth.
Yeah.
So Sam, first of all.
Okay. I feel like I connected better with the breathing now. In it, I would do the neuropathy, the legs would be burning. And so the breathing, and especially breathing out, it would seem like you just erase the pain, breathing out. But I had another time that I had these spasms in my right leg, which generally don't bother me that much, but they just continue every 20, 25 seconds, maybe for an hour. But anyway, I tried it on it. That's, tried to take my mind off to get the spasms to stop, but they refused. So I'm still working on that.
Yeah. But did it help? So that's also very interesting in terms of this kind of pain management aspect, because sometimes we can't change the basic pain. We might have a health condition where the pain is a given, or your spasms, there it is. You can't change the spasms, but what we can do is change how we react to the situation. So you got the spasms, and then rather than getting really worked up about the spasms, we can learn how to just sort of breathe with them, let them be, and to calm down that more sort of reactive responses that we have to things. Does that make sense, Sam? Sounds like you maybe had a sense of that anyway.
Yes, before I used to try with the breathing end of it as a diversion, just concentrate fully on the breathing and hoping, the mind would leave the spasms altogether. So, I don't know, sometimes you can leave and, go do something else and your spasms just quit and you don't realize that they quit until later.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm getting the hang of it a little bit. So I'm working on it.
Good. And particularly the thing of breathing out, because often we just get tense and we start resisting and hold the breath, and then everything gets tight. So just moment by moment, let me breathe out. Here's the spasms, here's my thoughts, whatever it might be. Let me just sort of calm down a bit and interrupt this kind of reactive cascade that we so easily get. Yeah, good. Thank you, Sam. So let's hear from you, Beth.
I was, oh, my cat wants something, and she's 20 years old, so I have to do everything she says. Anyway, I was looking forward to doing this, and I thought, you know, listening to the recording, and I thought this is a perfect week for it. And then I didn't do it, which I'm not saying that why I'm bringing it up is that I had to go yesterday to the hospital and get a thing called a nuclear stress test. And obviously, I can't run on a treadmill, so they give you some stuff and medicine or something, and it makes your body feel like it just ran on a treadmill. And I can go to the worst possible case scenario in a second. And I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do if I die? Who's going to take care of my cat? I've broken my leg in a hospital before. Bad things happen to me in hospitals. What am I going to do? And of course, it was not nearly as bad as I was imagining. It was practically nothing. The hardest part was you couldn't drink coffee for 24 hours. So the whole entire day before, I couldn't drink any coffee. And that was like a tragedy, a major problem. And then they told me to go to the cafeteria and eat. And they had seaweed salad in the hospital cafeteria. I couldn't believe it. I love that. And you don't see it everywhere, seaweed salad in a hospital. But so I ate some seaweed salad and some other things that don't go together, and I liked it. Good. I was happy. It was very entertaining to eat food. And then I went back to the test and did it again. But the hardest thing was they make you hold your arms up. This is a difficult thing for me to do, even for a minute, but holding them up above my head, it was so painful. And I don't think they really, I was explaining to them a neck injury, and they were like, didn't
so Beth, so how did you work with your mind and all that?
I tried I'm sorry, but I'm moving, but I have to give the cat some cat food.
Of course, that's no problem.
To think of the way one of our other meditation teachers, which is probably similar to you, he said the senses, taste. Yeah. I think you said it too. Taste, smell, you know, so I was taking breaths and thinking of those things that Dr. Marco said, and I'm also thinking of different things I've heard in classes, and I often will also, I will breathe for the count in for the count of 7 and out for the count of 11.
Yeah, 7-11 breathing. Yeah,
that works for me when I meditate.
Yeah,
and it helped a lot. And my blood pressure remained alarmingly low, and they were trying to understand why is Beth. And then the doctor came and told them, oh, Beth always has low blood pressure. See, I have a heart condition, but my blood pressure is almost always low because I meditate while they're taking it. And one nurse said to me, how do you do it? And I said, meditation. And she said, what kind of medication? I said, no, not meditation, but anyway.
Yeah, so thanks. Yeah,
the cat's going to yell any second.
That's no worries. So that's really good that you use your mind, and you've also described the tendency many of us have a technique called catastrophizing. Something's coming up and you think, oh my God, it's terrible. It's going to be the end of the world. Ooh. And you just notice that, you come back to the present, and then, you know, you had the seaweed salad, you had something pleasant, and you worked with your breathing.
You're doing a test, you're in the hospital already. And I'm sure they had emergency equipment right there, because they give that test to heart patients like me.
That's true. That's true. So, safest place to have a heart attack. So that's very good. And then the 7-11 breathing, just to explain to other people, it's intentionally slowing your breathing down a bit, and then having the out breath longer. As soon as you have the out breath longer than the in breath, then that's calming.
It is.
That's the calming side of the nervous system. It could be 7-11, it could be 4, 6, you know, counting in for 4, counting up for 6, could be counting in for 2, counting up for 3. It's really up to you. It doesn't matter. The main thing is not to get really sort of forceful around your breathing. The thing I always say to people is keep your breathing natural and just lengthen the exhalation a little bit. And then the next in breath will be a bit longer, and the next out breath a bit longer. So you do it quite easily. Great. So look, we're going to move on now. I'd like to hear from some other people, but today's theme is pacing. So I want to move on to that now. So I've got some slides here. Let me just get this going. So this course is called Mindfulness Techniques for Pain. I hope you all know that by now. And the first week we did distinguishing between primary pain, that which is a given, and secondary pain, which is the reactive pain. It's when we start tensing in the body and the mind starts getting worked up and we get difficult emotions. That's all secondary pain. And that we can learn to really reduce that. And I think Sam was also describing that earlier on very well. And then the next week we used breath awareness to release tension. And then last week we looked at how to get perspective on our thoughts with a kind and positive attitude. And again, Julie described that very well this evening. And then today we're looking at how to pace ourselves and manage the fluctuations of good and bad days. And for any of us who are here with pain or a spinal cord injury or other difficulty, you probably will be having good and bad days. It's inevitable. In fact, I think it's inevitable for anybody, but it's a little bit more difficult to manage, I think, when our health is compromised in one way. And then in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to summarize and really sort of figure out, well, how can we choose our reactions to what is going forwards in our lives? So what we're doing tonight is how to manage the fluctuations of good and bad days, which you could say is how to manage our energy and our pain. And very often we might feel like this poor guy, where it's all just too much and we're feeling overwhelmed and stressed and overloaded. And another thing that many of us will experience is what's called the boom and bust cycle. This is very, very common. I think everybody does it to some extent, but those of us with health conditions, we notice it more because the consequences are more intense. So if we start at the top, we have the boom phase, which is where we have a good day. So maybe we wake up thinking, oh, good, I feel reasonably well today. I feel, I've got energy. My pain's not too bad. I know I'm going to catch up on all my emails. I'm going to catch up on all the housework. I'm going to maybe phone all my friends, not all my friends, but many friends. Maybe I'm going to get lots of work done. Maybe I'm going to do the housework, shopping. So we go for it very understandably because we're feeling like we've got capacity. So I'm just going to really have a good, busy, productive day. Then what happens is we get a flare up. So you can see pain, 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 ill, and ill. So it might be that your pain gets worse. It might be that you actually do get ill. Or your fatigue really flares up, whatever it might be. So then you go into the bust phase, which is where you think you can't do anything. Maybe you have to go to bed. You feel completely exhausted, completely shattered. Pain's awful and overwhelming. And you go into bust. So you have boom, which is where you think I could do loads and loads of things, and bust where you think I can't do anything. And then eventually you crawl out of your bust. You sort of recover from your bust. You get your bit of energy back. And then you've got way behind on lots of other things while you've been in the bust phase. All your emails have started piling up. You haven't done your shopping. You haven't done your cooking. And Ron was saying before about all the lists in the head. So the lists in the head start to really go crazy because you think, oh, I've got all these things to do. So then you go straight back into boom. So you're just trapped in this cycle of overdoing it and then crashing. Does anyone recognize that? I can see your heads there. You're all nodding. So, I mean, I certainly recognize this in my own experience. So boom and bust. So
my dad always said to my mother that she had two speeds.
Oh, yeah.
I'm finding now that I have two speeds also. It's the boom and the bust.
Yeah. It's full on or not at all.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you could think, what's wrong with that? It's kind of interesting. You do get things done when you're in boom, and then you have you have a recovery phase in the bust. So you could think nothing inherently wrong with that. However, what happens over time is that you gradually lose condition. So this is a very good graph. So here's activity, how much you can do, and here's over time. So you start off being able to do a certain amount, and then you have a good day, and you have a boom, you get lots done, and then you have a bust, and you maybe go to bed, maybe you don't do your exercises, maybe you don't do your physio. You don't call it physio in the States, do you? Your physical therapy. Maybe you go to bed and you lose condition, you lose fitness. And then what happens is when you crawl out and you have another boom, you don't go back to the level of activity that you were before. Whoops, sorry. And then you have another bust. You lose more condition, you have another little boom, another bust. So over time, you have this declining capacity for activity. So over time, you're becoming less and less able and less efficient in terms of your daily activities. But with pacing, which is what we're going to talk about in a moment, you're able to manage these kind of fluctuations in energy, fluctuations in pain, much more evenly. So you have a paced life, and then over time, you find you can do more because you're not having these big peaks and troughs. So I'm going to get Liz to send you all an ebook, which is a little book I wrote about mindfulness in daily life, The Art of Mindfulness. And it's quite a comprehensive pacing program. Some of you might have done pacing before, but if you haven't, you could have a go at this. You fill out a diary for every day for 7 days, where you write down every single thing you did that day, how long it took, and what your pain was at the end. And then you analyze your diary after a week, and you find all the things that made your pain worse, all the things that made no difference, and all the things that eased your pain. And when I did it, let me just stop sharing so you can see me. When I did it many years ago, I found it just very, very interesting. It's like, okay, so lying down eases my pain. Now, I kind of knew that, but it's very evident that the thing that made my pain better was to lie down, and that sitting was problematic. The thing that flared my pain up generally was when I sat too long, and sitting in the same place without moving and adjusting my posture. So that was very interesting for me. I really encourage you to have a go at this. You're sort of gathering the data of your behavior and the impact of that on your pain. So I'll share the book with you and just follow your way through the program and see how you get on for the next couple of weeks. It's good we got a couple of weeks so you can have a go at this. Then you learn how to take a break before you break. Yeah. Very, very interesting, because most of us, this seems to be something to do with human nature. If we start doing something, we keep on trying to do it until we can't do it anymore. So we keep doing a task until we're so exhausted that we can't do it anymore. Our pain's flared up so strongly that we have to stop it. But we can take a break much earlier than that. So I quite like this phrase, take a break before you break, rather than always being at the end of your resources. So if it was money, you'd always have a little bit of money in the bank. You don't drain the bank. So take a break before you break. And another lovely saying is, when in doubt, breathe out. Because when we start getting really strained and tired and we're overdoing it and pushing ourselves, there will be breath holding. If you tune in, there'll be this kind of gripping and holding. And so just you notice that. The mindfulness thing is to notice that I'm getting really driven. I'm getting exhausted. My pain's flaring up. When in doubt, breathe out. Let me just stop, settle, and let my out breath flow out. And then when we do this pacing exercise, if you want to do it from the little booklet we're sending you, you end up with what's called a baseline, which is how long you can do an activity without it flaring up your condition. And then we just start using a timer. So for example, if I'm working at my desk, I'll use a timer for 25 minutes. And after 25 minutes, my timer will go off, and I'll move and I'll turn away from the screen. I can stand up with my crutches and have a stretch. I know some of you can't do that, of course, but there might be some other movement that you can do just to move your body and stretch a little bit. And learning to use a timer to take a break before I break has had an enormous effect on my life. It used to be that I might work in the mornings for, say, 3 hours without taking any breaks. I'll be absolutely wrecked, absolutely shattered, have to go to bed for the afternoon. And then I was never able to really sort of recharge my energy because I was always at the sort of end of my tether, as it were. And then by starting to use a timer, taking breaks, working in this pace kind of way, I've been able to write 3 books, which I find amazing because there's no way I could have done that before. But I've had 3 books published through using a timer to pace my activities. And then routine. Some of us find routine very boring, but leading a routine life can be enormously beneficial in terms of managing your energy. So going to bed at roughly the same time, if you can, getting up at roughly the same time, if you can, having your meals at roughly the same time, if you can. So you have this routine life and your brain will thank you for that because your brain likes routine and your body will thank you for that because then the body can settle into this more routined, manageable life. Okay. So I've got a question for us all now. How can I pace myself? So as I said, I'm going to send you this booklet so you can do this more kind of comprehensive investigation of your activities if you want to. But now what I think would be really great is to just think about maybe 2 things you could introduce into your life right now to help you be a bit more paced. So it might be I'm going to start going to bed at a regular time. I'm going to get up at a regular time. It might be I'm going to start using a timer. It might be that you recognize you got this habit of only stopping when you're absolutely wrecked. So it might be that you think I'm going to start using a timer to pace my activities. It might be that you're going to, this can be very interesting. You're going to set yourself the challenge of not finishing tasks. Because we have this kind of obsession with finishing tasks. But when I taught this on a course years ago, here in the UK, we have commercial breaks in television programs. Do you have them there? So if you're watching a TV program, the commercial breaks come in. And there was a woman who had cancer. She was very, very ill. And she did the washing up after dinner. She did the washing up in the commercial breaks. Rather than thinking, I've got to do all the washing up at once, she'd do a little bit. She'd go and lie on the sofa, watch some telly. Commercial breaks would come on. She'd go back to the kitchen, do a bit more washing up, go back. And for her, it was quite sort of life-changing because it meant she wasn't absolutely shattered by trying to do all the washing up at once. Very simple, trivial example. But these things that seem trivial and simple can be the most powerful. So I'd like you all to think of maybe 2 or 3 things you're going to have a go at over the next couple of weeks to help you be a little bit more paced. And I'm going to put you into groups. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9. Got 11, including me, so that's 10. So I'm going to do 2 groups of 5, I think. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I think we're all back now. Let me just double check. Yes. Okay, good. So we just got 10 minutes more, and I'd love to hear from a few people what your intention is, what you've decided to undertake for the next couple of weeks. And then we can hear how we got on at the beginning of the next session. So anyone want to unmute and let us know?
I'll jump into it. You know me, I'd like to talk. So I realized that even though I was setting timers, I was ignoring my timers, and that was for me to do a pressure relief to help ease my pain. So mine is to, problem is I'm a retired engineer and I'll set a million things and I'll just say, oh yeah, I'll just do it the next time the timer goes off because it repeats. And so what I do is I find out that I don't do it as much as I need to. And then I'm kind of in the situation I am right now where pressure lifts aren't doing anything and I'm pretty close to having to lie down. So that's a big one that popped out for me. And there was some good ones in our group, but I'll let everybody else talk for themselves.
Yeah. So yeah, really, really please do that, Ron, because you don't want to end you know, with a pressure sore, having to lie down. So that sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. Yeah, that you have that. And the mindfulness piece is making the decision, I'm actually going to listen to my timer, and then doing it. And if you think, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do it, get a friend to text you. That can be another thing. Get a friend to text you, say, hey, Ron, have you done it today? And that can help. Good. Okay, so anyone else? Yeah, Julie, I can see you're unmuting.
I had almost the same one as Ron is, I need to take more lay down breaks throughout the day and not worry about, my mother's not going to come and ground me if I don't get the housework done.
Hmm.
You know, like put things into perspective, like what's really important.
Yeah. Good.
I'll get to it later. It's not going to go away.
It won't go away. The housework won't go away.
Yep. I
Unfortunately.
gotta teach the cat how to clean.
But that sounds good. Lay down breaks, you know. With it.
Yes.
And when we say it out loud, you realize it's so silly, isn't it, that we don't do these things that are good for us.
Yes, you're right.
It's you know, we are strange creatures, us humans. So that sounds good. So you're going to have more lay down breaks and let the house work. Just wait until the time has come. Good. Thank you.
Hi, it's Gloria. I'm going to try to work on taking a break when I'm in the middle of a task before I start having body aches. And if I do start having like upper back pain, arm pain, something like that, maybe just finish it a different day rather than trying to push on through it and then ending up ruining 2 days.
Yes, exactly.
I don't feel like doing anything.
Exactly.
So I'm going to try that.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. And you know, if you're like most of us, that won't be that easy. But really great that you're going to have that determination and that insight that I just end up ruining 2 days. Like, why would you want to do that when you don't have to?
Yeah.
Just by taking a break in a task. So really good. Yeah, Bobby?
You mentioned the squirrel brain, and I've noticed that as I'm getting older, I'll start one task and then I'll go and start another one. And then I'll go and, oh, that needs to be done too. And I'm seeing smiles, so I guess I'm not the only one having this problem. And so maybe I should just say to myself, hold on, let's finish the task at hand. And usually those tasks are manageable and brief. It's just that I have a long continuous task by adding so many. So I'm going to just stay with one task, finish it, and maybe then, take a break.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And also what you just said, this is very, very good, that when you just have multiple tasks all bouncing off each other, you just got an endless task. Well, who wants to live like that with an endless task? That's not very attractive. But do one, complete, another one, complete, and take breaks. Yeah, very, very good.
The other thing is for the holiday, I said I would bake a casserole. And I think what I'm going to do is break it into steps and do a little bit. And like Gloria said, put it in the refrigerator after, I do a little bit and then stop and then get back to it later and not try to complete it all at once.
Brilliant. And then you'll be able to enjoy your holiday rather than just being absolutely wrecked when people come round. So that sounds brilliant. Yeah. And it means that we have more pleasure because you can enjoy doing those bits of baking, bits of cooking, rather than it becoming a overwhelming task. I can see you nodding there, Lacey. Are you recognizing some of these things? Yeah. Good. So we've just got a couple more minutes. Has anyone got any questions about anything from tonight before we head off? Well, it's tonight my time. It's today your time, isn't it?
Where are you?
I'm in the UK.
Where?
In a place in Herefordshire, which is in the middle to the left on the map. I always say that to people, in the middle to the left. Yeah. It's beautiful actually where I live. I live in a rural place now in the country, and it's famous for its mud, as it turns out, because you know England's so wet, and we have this very wet, this sort of red claggy earth around here. Mud, yes, famous for its mud. But it's beautiful, and we get beautiful fall trees. So we've got lots of beautiful trees at the moment.
Maybe you could plant lotuses there in the mud.
Exactly. Exactly.
Isn't it known for its cows? I mean, we have heard. Okay.
Yeah, the Herefordshire cow comes from here. Yeah, it's known for potatoes. It's known for apples. It's known for cows, and it is also very, very beautiful. Yeah.
We have a lot of cows where I live. I'm in the dairy state.
Ah, okay. Which is
cheese, milk, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Okay. Yeah. Is that the dairy state? Is that okay?
Yes, the dairy state. Yeah. California is trying to steal that title, but we're not letting them. It's ours.
Definitely. Yeah. You are the cheeseheads, right? Isn't that what it's called?
We're the cheeseheads. We say that with pride.
Yes. You wear it on your head.
Yes.
Big block of cheese at the game. Right?
Yep, that's us.
And look, Sam's showing us where he is. That looks really beautiful.
Where are you, Sam?
Oh, my goodness.
That looks like Cape Cod. Where are you? Sam.
I see UK by his name, so I was
he's in
England too.
Oh, maybe he is in the UK.
Oh, the UK.
No, I don't think he is. Well, he might be, but
well,
that doesn't.
I just thought that because of what his name tag is, but I don't.
Are you there, Sam? Can you unmute and tell us where you are? He's obviously there because he's showing us the view. He's just tempting us with beauty.
Yeah.
Looks to me like it must be quite far north because there's no leaves on the tree.
What a view, though.
Oh, here he is. Yes, if you're muted, Sam, and tell us where you are.
You have to unmute your microphone.
Gotcha.
Oh,
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm in Kentucky, northern Kentucky, right on the Ohio River.
Oh, Kentucky is gorgeous.
Yes, we're three rivers, and the Kentucky River and the Little Kentucky River and the Ohio River all join right through where we are. Wow. And the curve that you saw in the river, that's where the other rivers come in. So yeah, we're up on top of a cliff, you might say. I have a acreage here, so we're out in the country altogether. But it's pretty.
How wheelchair friendly is your area, Vidyamala?
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's the UK is not bad with all that sort of thing. I mean, as soon as you live in the rural environment, it's more difficult. But it's not too bad. Yeah.
But you're thriving.
Pardon?
You're thriving.
I'm thriving. Yeah. Yeah. I like nature. I like being out in nature. So I'm thriving. As I get tired, like all of us, of course, just sort of managing the body. But I'm better off here than where I was, which was in a very suburban situation before. Yeah, I'm thriving. I am thriving.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm really, really enjoying being with you guys. Like when I was coming on to death, oh, there's my friends over there. And
Yay!
wherever you are, Kentucky and Wisconsin and all these
It's
places.
so fun that we get to talk to somebody in different countries and things. And
Yeah.
I do another kind of meeting every morning, and it's the same. I've had people from Dominican Republic, France, England, just all over.
I mean,
Ireland,
this whole Zoom
Ireland
business,
and
it's
England come
incredible.
because they speak English, so that's convenient.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. As
This is
Winston Churchill said, we're two great nations divided by a common language.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we can't understand each other.
No.
He's right. Yeah, it sounds so
This-
strange.
This is the good
And
thing
when you
that
take
came out of the
yoga with
pandemic.
somebody from England, that really strikes me as, and I keep getting distracted and thinking, he's going to do cat cow from England. I don't know if they can do that there.
Yeah. Anyway, look, let's leave it there because we're on the hour and run over slightly. I don't want to take your time, and it's 9 o'clock at night here, so I need to head off.
Oh yeah.
So have a happy
Bye-bye.
have a happy Thanksgiving next week,
Thank you.
and then don't overdo it, people. Do your cooking over several days. Have your
Yes.
lie downs. Do your pressure lifts. All these kind of things. And I really look forward to seeing you for the last session in a couple of weeks. And that'll just be a kind of reviewing how have we got on, what have we learned, and what are we taking forwards. And we'll do some practice together.
Thank you.
Great.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.